Hello and welcome to another edition of the Falcon Crest Aftershow. I'm your host, James Lott Jr. You can find this episode and others on YouTube under JLJ Media, my network, or if you're listening to us, hi, podcast listeners, you guys are listening. Thank you. I appreciate all the downloads and spins. You can go to any place you get your podcast. So Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google, Apple, wherever you go and get them. Listen, Falcon Crest Aftershow. We're there. Drink some water. Just outside my garden. So we're back. I want to talk about episodes, storyline that I think is very well done. One of the things that Falcon Crest did very well was establish when Chase and family come to Falcon Crest, why they're there, what they're looking for, what Chase hopes to accomplish, and sets up the adversarial at times relationship between Angela Channing and Chase Gilberti, who is her nephew. They also had a good way of establishing how Angela feels about Falcon Crest and what it means to her. But he also had to explain to us kind of how it came to be, and what happened before there was even a show. And one of the ways they did that was bring on her sister-in-law and Chase's mother, Jacqueline, played by the wonderful and beautiful Lana Turner. The one thing about Falcon Crest, we talked this a little bit before, they would bring on old world stars, more so than the other shows, the nighttime soaps, the nighttime soap at the time. And so they brought on Lana Turner. First of all, star power, great actress. The lighting, the clothes, the earrings, and the hair, everything. You can see them online. It's really cool. But she came on guns blazing. But what's interesting about, physically, literally, but just like she came on with stuff to bear. She was playing Mama Bear, basically, trying to protect her son, Chase. What I find amazing watching the storyline, the scenes, in those early seasons 1 and 2, because later on it was revealed she did some other stuff. Like she was the one who helped steal Little Richard, baby Richard from Angela, told him he was dead, faked the birth certificate, and then sold him to the Nults. And that's how his storyline started. But in those early scenes, it was very much she was the wronged woman, or she was the one who was feeling bad for Jason, her late husband. She was married to Jason, Angela's brother. He died. Whole thing. So, and she wanted Chase to have the same fate. So she came on just, not like she said it in one of the scenes, I do not like you, don't like anything about you, Angela. And what's so interesting is that these two ladies were even classy in the fighting. Kudos to the writing, kudos to the staging. There were no cat fights. You wouldn't see, like on Dynasty, you had Alexis, literally fighting with Crystal in a pool. These two were fighting with their words. And for some reason, it really felt like family messiness when they were talking. There's a scene at Jason's grave where Emma goes off, and Emma's a little Emma. And when Jacqueline brings up Emma being a little bit off, Angela turns into Mother Bear herself. It's like, cuts that down. No. It's like, you're not going to talk about Emma. She was like, no. The shade was there, right? There's a big scene they did. It was a dinner scene. It was all women and Chase, basically. I think Cole was there too. But it's mostly the women. Maggie, all the rest are there. Emma, all there. And it comes up again because Jacqueline just really is like, you always dominate everything. That's what Angela does. She takes over. Angela insists that she has a line that I like. Whoever can take it away from me, basically can have it. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but basically can have it. That's who's actually who inherit Falcon Crest. And it feels like to me, Angela's about, if you're good at keeping Falcon Crest alive, because it's a vineyard, then she's fine with you. And she felt Jason was not a vineyard. She said a vineyardist. I think that's the word, vineyardist. So he was weak. He just couldn't keep it together. So she's like, anybody keep it together or take it from me, then so be it. But you could do it, Jacqueline. Chase is not going to let Chase do it. So she wants some acreage, she'll work all out, whatever. But she seems to be a person who really believes in, if you do a good job, if you seem fit for the job, if you're a person who can meet her standards on some level, she kind of respects that and she'll take that. And that's fine. And in his family, they couldn't, she felt Jason just couldn't do it. And for her, it was all about keeping the family business and the vineyard running and keeping it going and keeping it going. And that she's the best person to do it. And Angela was obviously a shrewd businesswoman. She had her ways. She wasn't always the most diplomatic or whatever, but she was completely, she had a way of bulldozing a little bit, but she was just such this classy lady while doing it. I just admired that. From the other soaps, class coming out the window to fight. They're a lot more scrappier than women on other shows. Where this show, they used their words. And you felt the emotions. You felt Jacqueline was really scared for Chase. She did not believe that Jason just got drunk and went off the road or whatever. She believed that something else was going on. Sorry, I got things happening over there, real life. And she didn't want Chase to have the same thing. Chase, there's a great scene. Okay. There's a great scene where Chase tells his mother and Angela, I'm not my father. He's very defiant in that, which is a very son-like thing. A very son-like thing to feel like, mother, stop, I appreciate you being on my side, but don't call him a man. I can handle this, so to speak. And he was like, I can understand Angela. Angela's being funny, like, really, you can understand me? But it's very much, he's not asking his mother to protect him. Chase is like gung-ho, he's in, he's like, I can handle this, I want to get my piece of the pie. And Jacqueline's just really scared. She doesn't want anything to happen to him, but she also wants to stick it to Angela. She doesn't like Angela. She doesn't like her. So it's one of those awkward sister-in-law things. And I just had to mention that because I was watching some scenes with that the other day, and I was like, I want to talk about that a little bit. That was the way they fought, the dialogue, everything was just so classier. It was the shade was thrown and the lines were drawn. But they both came to it almost equally. I don't think in those scenes that Angela won or Jacqueline won. And Jacqueline was no saint. Obviously she was no saint. There was stuff that she did too, like later. But I really do believe that there was a sense of wanting vindication for what happened with Jason, even though she cheated on Jason. That's one other story too. But because her son was there, and it was establishing Chase as a person he was like, I'm going to stay here. We are here now. We want to establish ourselves. I got sneeze. Oh my goodness. And so so for a first season of a show and things like that, it's good you have to figure out why they're here, what's going on, what's the motivation. Has sneeze will come out. And I think that's very important to establish, like, 'cause a lot of things, especially at the ages they were at, the actors and the characters, we need some explanation about kind of what happened off screen pre-show. And so this is one way they did that. I actually really enjoyed that. And I'll talk more about some of the other people that came in. They kind of fleshed out the story. And so the show's so good. I rewatching these episodes, I'm like, God, I forgot how good Falcon Crest really was. It was such a good show. But thanks for supporting the after show. These are my thoughts. I love the engagement. You guys really engaged me. You guys tell me what you think. You fill me in on some history I didn't know about. Thanks for sharing off-screen history, because I only know a few things, but I don't know everything that happened off-screen relating to some of these stories. So you guys have great stories about Lana Turner. Share them with me. Great stories about Jane Wyman and Lana Turner together. Share them with me. I want to see them and hear them. Thanks to all the Falcon Crest Facebook groups. You guys are wonderful, keeping the show alive in our hearts and on the page. And I'm James Lott Jr. and I can see you anywhere because I'm on James Lott Jr. everywhere. And JLJ Media is the network, and we'll see you next time.